Hey guys, Angela here. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, click around to stick around. Go look at some vlogs and some other videos. See if you like the vibe. If you do, go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe. Girl, that rhymed. And I did not try to do that. If you are returning, thank y'all so much for constantly coming back and watching my vlogs and now these dedicated videos that I am sort of adding into the mix on a weekly basis. This video is going to be a chit chat video. We are going to talk about the election, but not we're not going to diagnose why Kamala didn't win. We're not going to talk about white women and Latino voters or anything. I feel like you've had enough of that rhetoric. We know what it is. I'm filming this on Sunday the 9th, I think. So we are a little less than a week post the election. The election was Tuesday. It's Sunday. So we still have a couple days before we hit a week. But if you are like me at this point, post the election results, you are sort of at the point of acceptance, right? 5 stages of grief. You know, there's an acceptance stage in there. And so I personally, and if you watch my videos, so if you watched my vlog, then you saw my reaction upon learning the results, because I vlogged it. I literally got up the next day with the intention to avoid the results as much as I could. So I logged off of the internet and, you know, completely avoided the news and all of that type of stuff on my phone after 6 p.m. on the night of the election. And then I planned on trying to avoid it as much as I could. I had to go to work the next day. We had a team retreat, so I figured once I got to work I would know, just based off of other people's reactions. But I don't know what I thought. I honestly don't know what I thought, but I did not want to see it that early in the morning. I wanted to get through my morning routine, because for me, my morning routine is very much like, it's the start of my day. It's the setup of my day. It's where I like determine what type of day I'm going to have. So I usually like for my day to start off, you know, really self-care, right? Really taking care of myself. I get up at 4 a.m., which is quite early, but I don't like to rush. I like to give myself plenty of time. So I get up at 4 and I prepare for the gym. I head down to the gym at about 5 p.m. and then I, you know, take my time to work out, and then it gives me plenty of time at the beginning of the day to film content if I need to, because I very much work a 9-to-5 job. As I said, I had to go to work the next day. And so I just like to give myself a lot of time in the morning to just set the tone for my day, pursue my outside, like, outside things that I do outside of work. And so anyway, I woke up and I had some alerts on my phone, like change your toothbrush head. Like I literally have to set alerts for everything. So change your toothbrush head, change your contacts. And so I opened my phone to clear the alerts, and then it opened up to my text messages, and it was my group chat. And I could tell just by the tone of the one little message that I caught in my group chat that it did not go the way that we were hoping. And so I was like, you know what, screw it, let's just rip the band-aid off. And I had already turned my camera on. I think I edited the part where I was like turning my, like, you know, before I opened my phone and looked at, I edited it out. I just inserted the part where I, like, my reaction. But I opened my phone and I just, you know, it was on camera. You saw, if you watch my vlog, you saw, if you follow me on TikTok, you also saw it, because I uploaded the clip immediately after it happened, just because I was like, you know, I am a person that has been, you know, gone through therapy. I have been therapized around being able to like express my emotions and not feeling like I need to be strong and have them bottled up. So while I'm not, you will not see me on the internet crying and raging and, you know, all of those different emotions a lot. I thought in that moment it was really important for me and to me to upload my raw emotions, because so many people are not capable of that. And it took me a very long time to get there. And just based off of the comments and the response, it did what I wanted it to do. So I did upload me crying. Now, am I a little bit embarrassed of it almost a week later? Yes, because I get embarrassed easy, but I'm never gonna delete it, because I still am getting comments to this day where people are like, oh, thank you, because I haven't been able to do this yet, or I wasn't able to do this, and then I watched this video and the tears that I needed to shed, the emotions that I needed to like let out, I was able to do that with you through this video. So I'm going to leave it up. I'm not going to delete it, but I ain't going to even hold y'all. I was like, I'm a little embarrassed. I'm not gonna lie. Anyway, the purpose of this video is to talk about where I am post-election and the next steps that I'm going to take as an individual to make sure that the next 4 years and beyond, you know, like I survive this, right? And I don't mean, you know, I'm gonna be okay, right? I'm going to be okay. I make good money, like, you know, I'll be fine. But there are some things, some immediate concerns that I have that will affect me. And to be clear, you know, there is this collective sentiment, especially among Black women, right? But Black people in general, that we are sort of stepping back from being the initiator of causes, of change, right? Of being on the front line of every little thing that needs protesting, every movement, right? We are going to focus in on strengthening our community. And if you're outside of our community, we still are empathetic as a race, as a community. We are, you know, by nature, we are empathetic. We are an empathetic people, Black people. So, you know, we are upset right now. We are feeling betrayed in a way right now. And so, you know, the rhetoric may be a little harsh, but are we gonna be out in the streets protesting? Probably not for a long time. But when it comes to like midterm elections, right, we know we don't have a choice because we have to save ourselves. It's frustrating because you know that people that don't care about you will benefit from that. But when it's time to do what we need to do, we'll do what we need to do, right? But right now it's like, for real, it's fuck y'all, like for real. So I said all that to say I am very much just putting my mask on. Like I am just focused in on what Angela needs to do to make sure that the next 40 years, like the idea of the next 40 years that I have been setting up in my life, can still be as close to how I have planned it to be, right? And my way of helping others and pulling other people in is to share that. And you know, maybe it'll encourage you to start rethinking some of, let's say, like your retirement, you know, plans and things like that. So that's essentially what this video is about. Some of the main things, like immediate concerns I have with a Trump presidency, a second presidency, is my student loans and my reproductive rights, like my body, like the autonomy I have over my body. Those are two of my like immediate concerns. Top of mind is my student loan. So I have been on the public service loan forgiveness program for the last almost 8 years. It'll be 8 years at the top of 2025. And so I have been banking on my student loans being paid off by 2027, right? And so I will be completely debt free. I don't have any car loans, I don't have any personal loans, I don't have any home loans, I don't have any of that, right? And so I planned my next 10 years, right? So we're not even talking about the next 4 years, we're talking about the next 5 to 10 years. I planned my next 5 to 10 years in my mind off the back that I don't have any debt and I can move freely through the country or even out of the country if I want to. So I have a plan to move to DC after this lease is up, which is this time next year, October. And then spend a couple years there and then move to New York and then spend a couple years there and then, you know, on to the next place. And that idea came from the fact that I have not just like personal freedom. I'm not married, I don't have children, so I don't have anything, I don't have any roots anywhere, but also financial freedom, right? Not having to worry about paying $1,000 a month for student loans or whatever the case may be. By the way, I have a very large amount of student loans left, right? And in full transparency, I'm not even sure why I have so much left. Like, I feel like I've just literally never it feels like it has never gone down, even though I know that I have been paying, right? Like even before I got on the public service loan forgiveness program, I was paying the student loan. So I don't know why it's so much, and it just has never gone down. But like my answer to that, because I'm like, I don't know what's happening here, but like I don't want to be paying this for the rest of my life. I am 40, right? For reference, and I graduated college undergrad in 2007. I graduated grad school in 2011, and I have been paying these loans since then. They just have not gone down, right? And so the public service loan forgiveness plan was my answer to that. Like, okay, I can work these nonprofit jobs or these higher ed jobs, things that are considered nonprofit that work under the plan, and in 10 years I can get my loans paid off. And what I was losing from that is salary, right? Like where I was before I started the loan forgiveness program, like the trajectory of what I was earning before then, well, technically, before I decided to quit my job and move to Chicago for love, that's another sit down video for another day. But the trajectory that I was on, by now, I would have been well over the 200,000s as it relates to salary. I am nowhere near close to that, because nonprofit, higher education, health, things like that, depending on what you do, are notorious for not paying the most salaries. But if I were doing what I am doing now for a corporation, for a Google or a Meta or something like that, I would be bringing in the money. I could be a consultant right now and make so much cash money, but I cannot do that because I have to be working for for public service or for a nonprofit in order to qualify for the loan. So the means to the end was to take not even a little less money, a lot of less money. I'm talking about tens of thousands of dollars that I am leaving on the table in salary on a yearly basis to get, I'll just say it, I think it's like 184,000 in loans. That's undergrad and grad school. And it wasn't even like I was taking a lot of money out, especially in undergrad, that I did not need. Like I didn't even get refund checks until my junior year, senior year of college, and it wasn't even that much of undergrad because I went to Lincoln University, Missouri at first, and I spent my first 3 years of college there, and they were very strict about like taking out loans, so I was only able to take out what I need. You couldn't take out more. They did not allow it, so I did not take out additional money and get these big refund checks to live off of and stuff. I didn't do that. When I went to when I transferred to Tennessee State, I picked up an extra year, so I did 5 years of college. I was supposed to graduate in 2006. I graduated in 2007, so I spent 2 years at Tennessee State. Now both of these schools were out of state for me, so the way that out of state fees should not be a thing. Like in my opinion, if they cannot have out-of-state fees for DC because it's a district, they cannot have out-of-state fees in general. I do not think that should be a thing. That's another tangent for another day. But I was out of state for both of them, so college was really expensive. Both of them were HBCUs. And at Tennessee State, I maybe took out an extra $4,000 for those 2 years, so an extra $8,000, right, which gave me like a couple $1,000s each semester to live off of. I needed it. I had to have it in that time. Again, I don't want to get into like my college experience right now, but I said all of that to say I was not a person that took out lots and lots and lots of money, extra money. Now in grad school, I did probably take out an extra $20,000, right? But the way that my grad school program was set up, especially the second year, I had to have a internship. And I couldn't work. Like I literally had to give up my full-time job to complete that like portion of my degree. So there were times where I had to take out extra money to live off of. Needless to say, I ended up with about 184,000, I think, is where I am now. And so as you can imagine, being on like the cusp of having that forgiven, and then to have another Trump presidency where the possibility of that going away is scary, right? And so I had somebody say to me in my comments, well, that's codified law. I'm like, nothing is codified when one party has all three branches of government, right? Nothing is codified. If he doesn't want to do loan forgiveness, if he wants to wipe away the public service loan forgiveness program, right along with the SAVE program and other forgiveness initiatives that have come along since his last presidency, he could just have Congress to overturn it. Like nothing is codified anymore. When one party has the Congress, they have the Senate, they have an overwhelming majority in what's the word that I'm looking, the Supreme Court. Like, nothing is safe, right? And so I am very much concerned about what this means about the public service loan forgiveness plan. And I say that because it is already being affected by them having the SAVE plan and other loan forgiveness initiatives tied up in the courts, right? So right now I am currently on a forced forbearance. I have not paid my student loans since July, right? And so when this was happening in COVID, when we were on a forced forbearance, at the very least, those months were still being counted towards loan forgiveness. That was of no fault to me, right? But right now, these months that I'm in this forced forbearance, and when I say forced forbearance, I mean, I moved over to the SAVE plan when the SAVE plan was created because it lowered my, it was a lot lower of a monthly payment than the income-driven repayment plan for me. So when they put the SAVE plan for it, I, like so many other people, were like, hell yeah, I'm finna get on this. And it still counted towards public service loan forgiveness. It just was, it just worked better for me. And with them trying to put a stay on it and like cancel out the SAVE plan, it forced everybody, because I mean, who didn't? Everybody moved over from IDR to the SAVE plan. And so with them having the SAVE plan in court because they want to get rid of it, and this was even before Trump even hit the office, right? Once he gets in, it's gonna be gone. The SAVE plan is out of here, right? But I'm saying that to say that they are not allowing, so when they said, okay, we're putting you all into forced forbearance, because of the SAVE plan, I immediately, and then they said, while you're in forbearance, these months are not counting, right? So where I would have been done in 2 years, in 2027, I'm now looking at 2028. And if it keeps going, like it's getting pushed further and further out, the longer that this stays in like this forced forbearance. So I immediately said, well, can I just go back to the IDR? Like, I'll just pay whatever, because I want my payments to cost. They said no. I mean, to count toward loan forgiveness now. They said no. You can't even make the change back. Nobody can do anything as it relates to their federal loans right now. Everybody is on a forbearance. You cannot do anything. So that's what I mean by like, I am feeling immediate changes with this upcoming administration, right? And so I personally am really worried about what is going to happen with my student loan payment. So what that means for me is I have to readjust what my future is going to look like financially to include $1,000 payment every month. To incorporate $1,000 payment back into my monthly like output. That's a lot of money. I ain't even gonna lie, the last couple years, well, honestly since 2020, I have been coasting as it relates to student loans because, you know, they've either been on hold because of COVID, or, you know, there was like a bunch of like forgiveness, like rules changed during COVID, and then the SAVE plan came. So I have really been living the life as it relates to student loans and really getting excited about what life is going to be without that big fat bill. Without that big fat bill. That's it. Like, full stop. And so that changes, right? And so now I'm thinking about, okay, moving to DC, like the cost of living is a tad bit higher in DC. I mean, than it is in Chicago. And then it's even higher in New York, right? And you are still probably going to have to now work these lower paying jobs, because if they don't get rid of the public service loan forgiveness program, you are going to be on it longer. So you looking at 2027, maybe 2028, because you know they're adding months to like your payoff. So like all of these things are like running through my head, and I don't have any like definitive answers for myself. It's just something that I like am ruminating on. The one thing that I did do immediately, which I had planned on doing anyway before the end of the year, is just like paid off all of my credit cards, right? And I have really been trying to hold myself to not running them back up. I have 1, 2, 3 credit cards. I have a travel credit card. I have the Chase Sapphire Reserve, and it had maybe like a $4,000 balance on it. I was like, girl, paid it off and don't spend it. So I paid that down. I have another Chase card. It's a Southwest card. I use that for like domestic travel. I'm not a bougie traveler, especially not in the US. No, internationally, we're gonna use our Chase Sapphire Reserve, try to get a business class or at least economy plus something, right? But I use the Chase Sapphire, I mean not the Chase Sapphire, I use the Chase Southwest card, mostly for like domestic travel and stuff like that. And so I have all of my bills set up auto pay on there. So that is a recurring bill that I pay every month for just like my cell phone and, you know, subscriptions and like all of that stuff. And then I had a balance, like, you know, I bought, like, sometimes I'll make big purchases on it because I wanted to accumulate points. So sometimes I need to have big purchases. So sometimes like my big shopping purchases, you know, I'll put on that card too. So I had maybe like $1,000 balance on that. That was not like monthly recurring. So I was like, okay, I need to pay that off. And then I have another credit card through my bank, and I just use that for like groceries, and stuff like that, which that also gets paid off every month. So all of like my miscellaneous balance on my cards, I just made sure that they were paid off. And I'm like, okay, you can't spend, like you can't use this. So for instance, I have a trip at the beginning of November. Instead of like charging the plane ticket to the credit card, well, I did, but I had the cash, so I just paid it right back. I wanted to get the points. My friend is booking the hotel. Instead of, you know, saying, hey, let me book the hotel so I can just put it on my credit card, I was just like, girl, I'll give you cash. So like I'm trying to pay for things in cash. So like I'm putting money to the side, so I'll have just all of the cash in hand to pay for things. And if I don't have the cash for it, I don't got it, right? So like not using my credit cards and things like that. So really starting right now to try to like be better about budgeting and saving, like beefing up my emergency fund and stuff like that. That's all I got right now, right? So that's one thing that I'm concerned about. The second thing that I mentioned is reproductive rights. So I am 40. For those of you all that didn't know, I am 40. And so I got off of birth control almost 9 years ago. So I got off right before my like right before or after my 32nd birthday. Either way, it's coming up on like 9 years. I got off of it after my last breakup. I had a Mirena, and I had it in for like 5 years. And after that relationship, I just made a concerted effort to like change a bunch of shit. And one of them was getting off of birth control, because I had been on birth control since I was 14, from like 14 to 32, give or take a year or so, here and there when I was off of it or just wasn't taking it correctly. So I decided I'm not going to get on birth control. And if I am going to have sex, I am going to take, you know, the responsibility of keeping myself safe and protected in my own hands. So contraceptive condoms, Plan B pills, like that type of stuff. Like that was going to be my birth control. And for the last 8 years, it has worked for me. Now, granted, I ain't really had a lot of sex. I'm going to be quite honest. I haven't really had a lot of sex in the last 8 years. But the sex that I have had, I have in most cases, because I ain't gonna front, like, you know, every once in a while you'll get that one man that you like, and you mess around with a lot, and you know, sometimes, you know, but for the most part, you know, contraceptives, you know, having access to Plan B if something goes wrong with the contraceptive, you know, all of that, right? So that has been working for me for the last 8 years. But also knowing in the back of my mind that I have choice, and I have other means of not becoming a parent, right? Because for me, this is about being child-free and remaining child-free by choice, right? I have just decided that that is not something that I want to do. Like, I don't want to birth children. Now, if I end up, let's say, like in a relationship, with someone that has children, and that puts me in a parental role, being a part of communities and villages for my family and for my friends. Absolutely, right? So I am not tapping out of parenthood altogether, because where my friends and family need me, if I become, you know, if I get in a relationship with someone that is a parent, then by proxy I am a parent. So I'm not tapping out completely. I just ain't having no kids, right? And so I personally just do not feel comfortable. Even though I'm in Illinois, it's very blue, it's very cushy. I fully expect a federal mandate around any like reproductive rights to come down, and then the states having to battle it out to make sure that their state, or the women in their state, keep their rights, right? And I personally don't want to go through that emotional roller coaster. So I have made the executive decision to get back on birth control, which gets on my nerves because I have been flourishing. My body has been flourishing off of it, right? And I didn't necessarily have a super adverse reaction to it, but I just enjoy having a body that is not, you know, not having birth control. Coming off of the Mirena was girl, I thought it was going crazy. Coming off of having those hormones in my body consistently for that long, I thought I was going cuckoo, okay? So I have made the decision to go back on birth control, and I am trying to do it quite fast, actually, before the top of the year, because my job is switching providers. And so I am trying to find a doctor. Like, when I tell you there are no appointments, so I'm just going to have to go to whoever is available within my network at this point, to get a Mirena. I'm going to get a IUD, and they have them now where they have some that last up to 10 years. So I'm going to get a long-term IUD, and yeah, right? So I have to go back on birth control. I'm going to do that really quickly, and that for me is just the best way to make sure that I don't get pregnant, even though people do be getting pregnant on IUDs. But just because I'm on birth control don't mean I won't also still use condoms. So, you know, I need to have a backup plan for the backup plan for the backup plan. I do also plan on buying a couple Plan B pills here, buying a couple Plan B pills there. I picked up a couple the other day. Pick up a couple, you know, next week. Pick up a couple and just have them stockpiled, because I don't know what's gonna happen with that. So those are two things that I am worried about immediately, and those are very personal things, right? I haven't even touched on, you know, being worried about things like the Department of Education and other departments and institutions and systems that are in place, right? And I know, like I said, I know I don't have children, but I am absolutely concerned about children's education. I'm very, very, very much concerned about that. And so, like I said, we're just talking about me personally, but like, there are so many other things that concern me, that worry me, that have me a little bit freaked out. And so I'm still trying to like process through that. But I just kind of wanted to talk about the two things that I feel like are going to affect me immediately, and like what my plan is to make sure that they don't impact me as much or as bad. Of course, I'll take y'all on. I do weekly vlogs, so if you're new here, of course, when I find a doctor, and I'm not gonna have y'all in the room with me while I'm getting the Mirena up in me, but I'll talk about the process. I'll talk about you know, what it was like and all of that type of stuff, in case you're interested in doing it too. I know me and a lot of my friends have been going back and forth about like what we're going to do. While I am child free by choice, I still have friends that are actively family planning, so IVF, freezing their eggs, and like, what is that going to look like for people that have like, that takes a lot of work, and it takes a lot of putting yourself in uncomfortable situations, giving yourself shots, and like ingesting all of these hormones to family plan and, you know, think ahead for the future. And so to have that possibly taken away or limited in some way, it's so frustrating, and it's so sad, and I feel so sad for them. So yeah, just sort of wanted to have that conversation. If you are a Black woman, if you are a Black person, however you identify watching this, and you have come to the conclusion that I am going to put my mask on first. I am tapping out of the, you know, Captain Save a Whole gang. Captain Save a minority gang, right? I see you, I hear you, I am with you, and you don't let nobody make you feel some type of way for deciding to put yourself first. Anyway, thank y'all so much for watching. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Let's have a discussion in the comments. Let me know what actions you're taking. And I will see y'all in the next video. Bye.